Good evening and welcome to our monthly Foundation Matters webinar series. And let me introduce myself. I'm Sandra Hempstead, Regional Rotary Foundation Coordinator for Zone 34, and I'll be moderating this event. Tonight, we'll be discussing the endowment of the Rotary Foundation that ensures Rotary has funds for future years. Our endowment and major gift advisors, Beth Trotter for Zone 33 and Dave Rao for Zone 34, will provide some information and resources. And then we're really excited to have you hear Rotary stories from two club leaders with information about why they support the Rotary Foundation. At this time, let's welcome Patrick Eakes, our own Rotary International Director for Zones 33 and 34 for the Rotary years 2024 through 26. Patrick's a member of the Rotary Club of Crescent, North Carolina in District 7690, Zone 33. At this time, Patrick, please offer your opening comments. We're excited to have you with us.
Well, thank you, Sandra. I am excited to be with all of you. It's great. We're here at our fourth Rotary Foundation Matters webinar for Zones 33 and 34. Really excited to be with you. Tonight's webinar, as Sandra said, is going to focus on an extremely important area of support for our Rotary Foundation, and that's legacy giving. Legacy giving is the best way I know to ensure that your commitment to Rotary's ideals and service will continue past your lifetime. It's surprisingly easy to establish a legacy gift, and as you'll hear during this webinar, we have plenty of resource materials and professional guidance available from our Rotary Foundation staff and our volunteer leaders. You know, the best part about establishing a legacy gift, you won't even have to write the check. Someone else will take care of that for you. Kristen and I have made the peace programs of the Rotary Foundation the central part of our estate plans. Our peace programs happen to be where our program passion lies. Your legacy gift can be structured to fit your area or areas of priority. So now let's get this webinar kicked off by talking about bequests and endowments. My dear friend and Zone 33 Endowment and Major Gifts Advisor, Beth Trotter, will get us started. Take it away, Beth.
Thank you very much, Director Patrick, and good evening, everyone. I'm glad you're here. Tonight, I am going to be presenting information about the Rotary Foundation Endowment Fund, and I hope that you find this information valuable and will invite me or my partner in Zone 34, Dave Rao, or your major gift officers to visit your club and make a similar presentation. So let's get started. Next slide, thank you. We all know about Paul Harris, the founder of Rotary. We live his legacy more than 100 years later, empowered to change the world through his ideas, action, and planning. It's my pleasure to join you to share ways that you and members of your club can make a lasting impact. Recurring support of the Rotary Foundation's annual fund makes an impact today. Big or small, a gift to the annual fund provides vital support to people who need our help now. And every year that we and members of our clubs give, we make a difference in our communities and around the globe. What many may not know is that there's an additional way to give, through the endowment. Gifts to the endowment are nurtured to provide steady funding to your favorite Rotary programs, the same life-changing programs that we support with annual gifts. The endowment can also magnify the level of our support over time. 100 years ago, we couldn't have predicted the effort required to eradicate polio worldwide or the devastating impact of a pandemic on the lives and livelihood of millions of people around the globe. But Rotary was ready to respond, partly because years ago, individuals and families gave to the endowment so that Rotary could act when and how it was needed. Our endowment is critical to our ability to respond to changing times. Arch Klump proposed an endowment back in 1917 because he knew that Rotary's tomorrow depends on what we do today. The endowment now produces millions of dollars each year from the investments it has to improve our lives in the communities worldwide. Supporting the endowment is different from other giving. Gifts to the endowment supply perpetual funding, whereas other kinds of contributions are used immediately in full. The Rotary Foundation's goal is to build the endowment for greater security, and every gift of any size gets us closer to that goal. In this next example, you'll see an example of how gifts to the endowment are invested and professionally managed to provide ongoing support for Rotary's local and global humanitarian efforts without spending the initial amount. Whoops, somehow we're not on the slide. I'll hold on while we get there. I'm looking for the graph right now, so you'll see the graph. There it is. Thank you. So this one, there's an example of a gift of $25,000 that is able to yield $1,000 in spendable earnings every year, the same level of support as a Paul Harris Society member, but this goes on forever with a gift to the endowment. Next slide. We can make outright gifts to the endowment during our lifetime to see our gifts in action as it helps improve lives and communities. So let me repeat that. We can make gifts to the endowment now so that you can see work immediately in our lifetime. Or we can also make gifts to the endowment through a commitment, such as a provision in our will or other estate plans. This is a promise of a gift that will have a big impact on the future, but not on our immediate finances. By notifying Rotary of a commitment now, we can receive special recognition and help in personalizing our legacy to fit our own goals. And it's also easy to modify our commitments later if we need to change our long-term plans. Naming the Rotary Foundation as the beneficiary of certain life insurance policies, retirement assets, bank and investment accounts would be an easy way to enhance our legacy without needing to update our wills, and it would also simplify matters for loved ones. Insurance policies can be a good choice to fund charitable gifts because financial and family circumstances may change and you make changes to these. Bequest and beneficiary designations, again, have no impact on our immediate income, but they can provide the long-term support for people in need. While it can be easy to name Rotary in our legacy plan, please remind Rotarians to let us know if their plans so that we can properly recognize them for our gifts. And this is a simple form that's available that can send that notification to Rotary of what you have done. By notifying Rotary of your intent, one can receive special recognition and also help in personalizing your legacy to fit your individualized goals. Those who make a promise of a future commitment to the endowment or an outright gift of $1,000 to the endowment can be recognized as a benefactor. Membership in the Bequest Society is offered to anyone who makes a commitment to give $10,000 or more to the foundation. Legacy Society recognition is offered to those who promise a gift of $1 million or more. Outright gifts made during your lifetime count toward major donor and Arch Klump Society recognition as well. So what can you do to help us grow our endowment? Well, first, please continue to recognize those in your club who make planned gifts. We know that we do a great job recognizing our Paul Harris Fellows, but sometimes we forget to recognize those who are in the Bequest Society. Please take time to do that. And secondly, share the message about our endowment with your club members. Your endowment team members would be happy to make a presentation at your club. These members include your major gifts officers, who in Zone 33 are Lori Menzel, John Teich, Tyler Stokesbury, and in Zone 34, Senior Major Gifts Officer, Deborah Lowe. And as you know, I am the Endowment and Major Gifts Advisor, and that abbreviation is EMGA. So when you see that, that's Endowment and Major Gifts Advisor. And my partner and the EMGA for Zone 34 is Dave Rao. So we're going to see a little video that we have, and the video and also this presentation is available. Go ahead, you could start it, Kim. Thank you. Here's the video on the.
You're a Leewood. You know what that means?
We work hard and we give back.
You know, someday this apple tree will be bigger than I am. We're leaving the future behind today. You'll see.
Giving to Rotary's endowment ensures life-changing programs will benefit generations to come. Your legacy is Rotary's promise.
Thank you very much. And now it's my pleasure to introduce Dave Rao from Zone 34 and the Rotary Club of Mid-Bay Bridge in District 6940. Dave?
Thanks, Beth.
You're welcome.
Hey, yes, it's this time of the year, and I just kind of want to cover this quickly and not get too much into the weeds about it, just kind of an awareness. This is the time of year when many U.S. senior citizens have to take what is called a required minimum distribution from their retirement accounts. And this distribution is fully taxable as ordinary income. Next, Kim. Kim, go ahead and change it. Oh, I'm sorry, you did. Go back. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yeah. One way to avoid paying tax on these distributions is to donate all or part of the distribution to a charity via what is called a qualified charitable distribution. The donation goes directly from the retirement account to charity. The reason I'm addressing this is that some of you on this call may be eligible to do what we call as a QCD. Or you know someone in your club that is complaining about having to take their distribution and pay taxes on it. And basically, this is a way you could open the door with them to possibly discuss another way where they could help and give money to the Rotary Foundation. Beth and I, as well as our major gift officers, stand ready to work with any of these individuals. And again, I'm just trying to open the door here. So if you hear something that has to do with people taking these distributions, then please get with us and put us in contact with those individuals. And with that, I'd like to turn this over to Jim. Jim has a wonderful story to tell us about why he is giving to the Rotary Foundation. Jim?
I think. Can you hear me now? Okay, I'm getting some yeses. Okay, thank you for introducing me, and I'm very happy to be here. I've been a member of the McMurray Rotary Club for almost 20 years, and if you're not familiar, the McMurray Rotary Club is where Stephanie is from, as well as Al DeLucia and a number of other individuals. I joined Rotary for the same reason that I think most people have, and that's to give back or to help make a difference. I've been the president of McMurray Rotary Club 2 times, served on the board for 17 years, and the philanthropy chair for 8 years. I've got to tell you that over the last 16 years, I really barely understood the full meaning and impact of the Rotary Foundation. And I think I'm like a lot of people, you know, we sort of hear about it, but what does this all mean? What do we do, etc. So over the last 2 years, I became more involved with the district and world grants as philanthropy chair. And within that role, I became more aware of really all the good that Rotary is doing all over the world and the support that was needed. I also became a member of Polio Plus, and again, that opened my eyes further to our organization. So over the past 2 years, my wife, Dawn, and I've been planning our estate, and we decided that we wanted to leave a legacy to support the Rotary Foundation. So we decided to leave a percentage of our estate to the Rotary Foundation, but I got to tell you, we didn't really understand what the mechanism was to make it happen. How do we do this? So our estate planning was somewhat in limbo. And then this summer, we had Tyler Stokes-Barry, the Rotary Major Gifts Officer, and Al DeLucia, who's a pastor's governor from our club, make a presentation on the foundation. And I got to tell you, after I heard all of that, something clicked and everything became very clear of what we wanted to do. So Al came to our house and we filled out the paperwork, and then we helped complete our estate plan. We were very excited to learn that the endowments that we wanted to support and the 4-star rating of the foundation is exactly what we wanted. So we decided on disease prevention, water, sanitation, hygiene, and education and literacy. Why did we do that? We chose these areas because they help create, in our opinion, environments of peace. And we're not talking about negotiating with terrorists or ending the war with Ukraine and Russia or anything like that. If we do a good job of creating an area of peace, it will really help in the long term. So fighting disease, providing clean water and sanitation, improving health of mothers and children, and supporting education, and finally growing local economies directly builds an optimal condition for peaceful societies. And we said, that's what we wanted to do. So basically, very simply, is that after we pass our gift to Rotary, the Rotary Foundation as a legacy, fulfills our original intention to give back and to make a difference. So we are delighted to be able to do this. And if you look around as you're planning your estate, there aren't many charities that fit the bill that the Rotary Foundation does. So I appreciate being here tonight. And with that, I will turn it over to Bob.
Thank you so much, Jim. Well, I can think of 2 reasons why my wife, Michelle, and I decided to include the Rotary International Foundation in our estate planning. Number 1, my very positive experience with Rotary as a member over the last 16 years. And then secondly, the service above self motto and our awareness of how Rotarians have transformed these words into action locally and around the world. I've been a Rotarian, as I said, for 16 years and currently president-elect of the Rotary Club of Flagler Beach in Florida. And Rotary's emphasis on service to others just resonates so loudly with Michelle and me. Throughout our adult lives, we have been both very engaged and committed to community service and volunteerism. For Michelle, it's been the Guardian Ad Litem program and A Christmas to Remember, which is a gift distribution program for children in dependency and foster care. For me, it is all about Rotary, as well as involvement with various ministries at our Catholic Church, Boy Scout fundraising, and I serve on a few local nonprofit boards. Also, we both worked hard to make a difference in the lives of others through our professional careers. Michelle managed group homes for the developmentally disabled, and I was a hospital administrator for 30 years and administrator of our Flagler County Health Department for 10. Fortunately, we have been blessed financially. And when it came time to developing a trust for our estate, it was a no-brainer to remember the organizations that have meant so much to us, like Rotary, through the foundation. Our gift to the endowment fund will support disease prevention and treatment, child and maternal health, and water, sanitation, and hygiene. These areas of focus were chosen because they most reflect our careers in the fields of public health, hospital management, and helping persons with disabilities. The bottom line is that I am wholeheartedly dedicated to Rotary. I enjoy the fraternity of like-minded people, the service projects of my small but mighty club, the leadership that I've observed at the district level over the years, and the opportunity to continue to make a difference in the lives of others, knowing that the motto, service above self, will be alive and well after we have gone. And with those comments, I really would like to thank Art McQueen, former district governor for our district, 6970. He's our club's foundation chair. And then Deborah Lowe for providing invaluable guidance to us as we began our endowment journey. So thank you all so much for the opportunity to share my story. And Sandra, back to you.
Thank you very much, Bob. And thank you also to Jim and to Beth. You guys did an amazing job explaining, Beth, what the endowment is. And for Jim and Bob, I truly appreciate you sharing your Rotary stories. They're very impactful. Now we have time for questions. And Dave will moderate the questions with Beth and Jim and Bob. While you're putting your questions in the Q&A box, I'd like to let you know that I truly do appreciate the topic that we have for this evening. For November, we're asking our club foundation chairs and presidents to recognize Rotarians who support the Rotary Foundation with bequests and/or gifts to the endowment. These are sometimes folks that we forget to recognize, so please do that in a club meeting. And while you are at it, if they would like to share any of their Rotary story, why they give, that may impact your club as well. And we'd also like you to participate in Giving Tuesday on December 3rd. So please encourage your club to do that. And now I think it's time to turn it over to Dave Rao, who will moderate our Q&A segment.
Thanks, Sandra. So we have a few questions coming in already, and please keep have the questions coming in and put them in the question and answer box. This first one, though, is for Beth. Can I direct a gift to the endowment to my passion, such as literacy or clean water? If so, is there an amount that I need to give or designate?
The answer is yes. You can direct it to a specific cause like literacy, and we welcome you to do that. As far as the amount, Dave, can you help me on this one? Because
yeah, the named endowment has to be 25,000.
That's what I was going to say. I think it's 25,000 for the named endowment in your ability to do that. However, you could still direct any funds to a specific area without a limit.
There's no minimum to just direct it to
minimum for that distribution. It's just the named fund that has the $25,000. That answer the question, whoever that came in from?
Yeah, I think that was good. So Jim, how long did it take you to make your decision to give to the Rotary Foundation? Was it an easy or hard decision? What's the one most important reason why you chose to give to the Rotary Foundation?
I would say it was an easy decision. Once I understood the mechanism, and I just noticed I'm backwards. It says Foundation Matters backwards. In any event, it was an easy decision, but I like I said in my little talk, is that I really didn't understand this. And I would encourage all clubs to spend the time to make it simple exactly how does this all work? Because I always like, yeah, this should work. But until we had the discussion about the foundation in one of our club meetings, the light bulb didn't go on until then. And then once it was on, it's like, you bet, there's no question about it. And, a very significant portion of our estate is designated toward the Rotary Foundation. And why is that? It's because it goes back to what I said earlier. We want to give back, we want to make a difference. And the way that the Rotary Foundation is managed is incredible. If you look at other charities, and I really don't want to be negative about other organizations, but if you look at how well the foundation is managed, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 96% of what's given to the foundation is utilized versus other overhead expenses. And the other thing is just like, I love the example that was given. We're going to plant an apple tree and that's going to grow. That's the same thing with the foundation. You make a donation and that money is going to grow for many, many years. And that was an important part to us, that we're just not giving this money and then it's just going to be all spent. It's going to be invested, and this money is going to go on as a legacy for many, many years. So I have to say, this was, once we understood it, it was really very obvious what to do. And so we are delighted to make that decision, and happy to support everything that Rotary stands for.
Thanks, Jim. I think you really answered that question very, very well. As far as, let's see, Beth, for you, I have one that just came in. If I want to use my IRA to make gifts to the endowment, who do you recommend I contact within the foundation?
Well, I would suggest that you reach out to your major gifts officer. And so depending upon which district you're in, we can direct you to that person. If you're in zone 34, there's only one, that's Deborah Lowe.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in zone 33, it's going to be either Lori Menzel, John Teich, or Taylor Stokesbury. And Dave, of course, they can reach out to either one of us.
And to add to that a little bit, so there's different language. Most custodians of your retirement account has their own form that you can fill out with them. And what Deborah and all of us can help you is give you the right information about the Rotary Foundation, and know who you want that money to go to, whether it's share or whatever you want. So that's where we would work with you, but you would work with whoever your financial advisor is, because that's where the form would be filled out, and that's then sent into the Rotary Foundation. Hey Bob, back to you. Kind of the same thing that was asked of Jim. And I think you maybe explained this a little bit. How long did it really take you to come up with this foundation, you're giving to the foundation, and why the Rotary Foundation?
Yeah, it didn't take long at all. What took long was my wife, saying, "Hey, Bob, we really need to do something about a trust." So, that took much longer than actually deciding who we wanted to give to, because again, Rotary was a no-brainer. But just to personalize it a little bit, our journey, once we did decide to get the revocable trust done, and working with the attorney, that probably took the longest. I mean, not too bad, but once that was done, a sigh of relief occurred from both of us. But we knew right away, the 3 or 4 organizations, between her volunteerism and her interests and mine, and there's a match there as well, because we do help each other in our charitable pursuits and volunteer activities, that Rotary was number one. And so it was a matter of then deciding how large of a gift that we were able to and be comfortable in providing. And once that was established, share that with the attorney that worked with us, and it just became even simpler after that. And again, the process included just touching base privately, confidentially with our foundation chair, Art McQueen, who many of you know. And then he immediately knew who I should follow up with. And so he contacted Deborah. Deborah contacted me, and it went pretty fast. And so I do appreciate the great support, like Jim said, the wonderful support from the Rotarians you have on the panel, and the ones that they mentioned was just absolutely invaluable.
Thanks, Bob. Very, very well answered. Beth, maybe we can both do this. Does the gift need to be made in 1 year, or can it be broken down over several years?
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, there are certain gifts that you can make over a 3-year period when you pledge a gift.
Yeah. So that's, if you do a pledge, you can do it over a certain, like she said, 3 years as a minimum. But also you can do continual gifts. It doesn't have to be just a one time. You can do, and I think Jim, you maybe have done continual gifts. And I think Irma and some others on here have done continual gifts over the years. And so basically, yes, it can be broken down and given over different years. Let's see, Beth, can the earnings from the endowment fund donations be directed to a specific district or club each year as DDF to be used for grants?
The earnings from the endowment will be able to go back to a district at the district level, but I don't believe that we have the ability to tag those directly to a club. Dave?
Yeah, correct. If you choose endowment share, then that share portion is just like your normal annual fund share. That money comes back, but it comes back immediately, not 3 years like on the annual fund does. It comes back that very next year to the district. And it just depends on the district whether or not they want to give that money to that club or however they want to do that within each district.
And not only is it an immediate the following year, not waiting a 3-year, but then it's continual every year that that right. amount continues coming back to the district. But no, it doesn't get designated to a specific project or a specific club to be used at district's discretion.
And the next one, do the EMG team, that's Beth, that's you and me, members rely on districts to be notified of bequests becoming active?
Let me think about which way this is being asked. So we rely on an individual to notify Rotary Foundation of their bequests. So they have to make that notification known to us, because two parts, you can designate Rotary in a will and never tell Rotary, and then it's a surprise that we didn't have the ability to thank you until it's too late to thank the individual. So we ask that that first step is made by an individual as they're making their plans to notify Rotary. But once Rotary is notified, then it is listed, and we would be notified through Rotary as your EMGAs and made aware of the gifts that have been made to make that recognition. And then within your districts, in the reports that you have, recognizing the levels of contributions and the recognition, there you would be able to see, as just as you do for Paul Harris Fellows, you would be able to see it for bequests made as an individual reaches a new level of their bequest, to be able to recognize those individuals. And I hope that answered the question.
Very much so. Thank you, Beth. And really, that's unless any of you have some more questions, that's all we have for this evening with questions and answers. So I'll turn this back over to Sandra.
Thank you very much. And thanks again for each of the people that were presenting today. I truly appreciate your presentations. And I hope that our club presidents and club foundation chairs got some valuable ideas and certainly some valuable stories for their club. The endowment really represents a vital opportunity for us to secure Rotary's future and secure the impact that we make through the work of Rotary. So don't forget this month to record your activities, excuse me, your activities on the Foundation Matters website. that's on the RI Zones 3334 webpage. This month's activities, of course, include recognizing the bequest and endowment gifts at a club meeting and encouraging your club to donate through Giving Tuesday. You will receive an email with a recording of tonight's webinar, along with a link to register for the December webinar. Please note that these items can also be found on the RI Zones 3334 webpage in the drop-down box for the Rotary Foundation, and look for Foundation Matters. Our next webinar will be scheduled for December 19th at 6 p.m. And this will be a Q&A session entitled Ask Me Anything. And you will be able to ask a panel of your zone leaders all the questions that you may have had about the Rotary Foundation. We expect this to be a very dynamic conversation and hopefully very helpful to each of you. As you exit the webinar this evening, you'll receive a quick pop-up survey. Please feel free to provide questions for the next month's webinar if you have one today. Otherwise, we will also take questions during the webinar. Thank you again for joining us tonight. We hope you found the information beneficial. This concludes our webinar, and have a nice evening.